Now, NHS we're talking about today, they want to get healthy. No big news, you'd think, with the NHS, but they're not actually talking about us, the patients. This is the staff, and plans are being announced to banish junk food in hospitals. You know, all the concessions you see in the foyer when you go in, and also to encourage their staff to get fit and take classes like yoga and Zumba, and they would be providing this. So is it something that they should be providing for staff, Janet? You know, lots of people work hard and we don't get given kind of Zumba classes and fitness classes.
Well, the job that people do on the front line in the National Health Service is incredibly stressful and they have to work really long hours. The fact of the matter is that the bosses of NHS Trust should never have put all these junk food outlets into hospitals in the first place. I don't think the staff asked for them. I'm on the side of the staff having a pay rise rather than a yoga class. Because I see that one of the reasons they've come up with this is because they say that staff absences from stress and other aches and pains are mostly, they want to reduce the amount of the costs. Sorry, I'm getting all tangled up here. What I mean is that the cost to the National Health of staff absences is so high, they obviously want to reduce that cost. But the fact of the matter is that the staff are not taking time off just because they're stressed. They're overworked and they're not paid enough money. I mean, most of the people on the front line are on the minimum wage, and that's just not acceptable.
I agree. If there's money going to be put into anywhere, it should be given into their pockets. But and then, like you were saying, with the extra hours, what are they going to be expected to come in another additional hour early to do the classes? I think it's a great idea in general for offices to be able to have that as an option. Not to make it compulsory that people work out, because that's too personal, but I think it does lift your spirits and make you feel better. It raises your adrenaline levels and endorphins, so it makes you a happier person, happy nurses, happy kind of hospital environment.
But it's slightly Big Brother to me. It's a little bit patronising, like, come on, we're all going to do a class and get nice and fit and healthy. And you go, if you're a nurse and you've been working 12 hours, you think, you know what, I just want to go home and, like Janet said, put some more money in my pay packet and I'll decide what I eat.
If you did a trial sort of session and see, or even put a survey around to see who'd be interested in it before you kind of go, right, that's it, Monday mornings at 6.
I think what we're saying here is we'd like choice, to have a choice. It's nice if they offer it as a way. Some people might like to relax by going to a yoga class or a Zumba class, but some people might, as you say, just want to go home and relax.
Add it to my paycheck.
Can I have the money instead, please?
But is it something you want your NHS to be paying for? You know, there are people saying, massive waiting lists, that they haven't got the money for drugs in certain areas.
And
you go, is that really where the money should be spent? I feel very sorry for people that are working these long hours, but lots of people work long hours in all sorts of industries.
One of the largest costs of the National Health is not the cost of the staff at the lower level, it's the cost of the staff who are the bosses of all these NHS trusts, where there's not one salary scale across the country. All these different NHS trusts in different parts of Britain decide what they're going to pay their bosses off their own bat, and then we read in the paper all the time about bosses that get the heave-ho or get eased out and just take another job down the road somewhere else at an even higher salary.
It's a disease of the country, I fear.
Yeah. I think that the National Health, the way that money is allocated is just bizarre to me. There doesn't seem to be a standard way of spending money right across the country. Each National Health Trust is run like a business, and they're all like Premier League football clubs, all competing with each other. I mean, we are losing a huge number of doctors who we train and then go abroad because they don't want to work the hours that are required of them in National Health hospitals, and they don't want to want the workload. So we've got to make working in a hospital a more attractive place and a more desirable place, because young girls don't want to be nurses and boys don't want to train to be nurses, and we train doctors and they go. So in a way you need to address that more than offering a yoga class. That's a bit of a sticking plaster on the problem.
I agree, and also about the point you made earlier about putting all these concessions in the front entrance, whether it's the fast food, because it's not a really great example. It's like going to the doctor and he's saying to you, oh, madam, you need to lose weight, and there could very well be a doctor there sitting there who's overweight himself or smoking, and you know, if you're not going to set a good example the moment you walk through the door of a hospital, whether it's like, you know, smoking zone outside, no fast food, you know, you've got to start from the ground up, haven't you?
Well, also, personally, if I'm lying in bed feeling sick, I couldn't care less if the nurse that brings me my bedpan and brings me my dinner has an arse this big or an arse that big. Frankly,